Fast forward to today, and 30% of reviews are being written by AI. And I'm not telling you to spend $10,000 a month on your roofing company that you just started, because even with that, this is organic. You can't take a seed, put it in the ground, dump 10 gallons of water on it and think you're going to have a tree next time. You got to grow it over time. The comprehensiveness that we fill out those profiles is almost more important than the backlink from the profile in the LLM days, because they're trying to build that entity around your company. So that's one change with the link building. There's no scenario where you should launch a website knowing that it's going to sink someone's rankings. That's criminally liable.
Josh Jacoby, welcome to eCoffee with Experts. How are you?
Good, Austin. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Man, we are both Arizona natives, and it is hot in AZ, but the desert is not the hottest thing around. Right now, it's like AI and AEO and like all of that stuff. In your world, with your business, what's like the hottest thing that you're talking about all the time these days?
I mean, definitely AI search is one of the biggest ones out there. I think there's like so much misconception about how we should be using AI. It's like there's this brand new tool that just got invented and people are just like, what do we do with this tool precisely? Should I do everything with this tool, or should I be like incredibly careful with this tool? So we've had clients try to tell us, oh, I want you to publish 5 blogs a week just using AI. And we've had to be like, that's a terrible idea. Let's not do that. And we've had clients that want us to do all the research and everything with AI, set up AI automations for, the link building and all that. And there's some validity to some of those things. But yeah, it's a hot topic of conversation and lots of misconceptions and myths surrounding it. So we talk about that one all the time.
Like the misconceptions. So the blogging, this is really important, I think. It's so easy to have that idea of we can just like create content out the wazoo, but obviously there's relevance. It has to be contextual, the whole EEAT strategy. How are you using AI to produce content now in a way that's not just like quantity over quality?
Yeah. No, great question. So, let's start with the writing side of things, because that's kind of the most straightforward. When AI first rolled down the pipeline, we caught our writers using AI to do their writing left, right, and center. And we use contract writers. So we have 5 people that we've been working with over the course of almost a decade. And I like them and I trust them. And, we have relationships. But nonetheless, AI came out and I was like, I'm sorry, GPT-0 and Quillbot say that you might have used a little AI on that. So we kept catching them using AI. And it was kind of a mixed bag of nuts, because Google had a policy at the time saying, oh, you can use AI to generate content. That's totally fine for SEO, as long as it helps improve the user experience. And, with everything that Google says, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because what they actually wanted to say was, can use AI, but it's going to end up spitting out to you the exact same thing it spit out to 40 other people. And what you're really going to wind up with is duplicated content, or duplicated concepts at least. So that's really what Google should have said, is use AI, but it's not going to give you unique stuff. And then you're going to be in trouble with us. Anyway, we had to kind of work through that a little bit. There was like a little bit of AI, and then we would back AI out and we would say, oh, our rankings are boosting, so therefore Google might have been, not. And then, of course, now we have to reverse everything with an AI detector, everything that comes from our writers. Even when we do a guest blog, we almost always have the other company send us their guest blog. And it's like, oh, 100% AI wrote that guest blog. And they're like, we did, our writers using AI. And it's just like, it's everywhere, man. And an interesting example of it is reviews. Like 2 years ago, we were all worried about AI reviews. We're like, oh, these people are faking reviews using AI, and it's so easy to catch it algorithmically. How could they possibly think they're going to get away with it? But guess what? Fast forward to today, and 30% of reviews are being written by AI, and they're legitimate reviews, because you have your phone open and you're going to type your review, and AI is like, oh, let me help you write whatever it is you're writing. I'm just like, well, why would I not have this better writer help me with my writing? So it's been just really interesting in that regard. So anyway, that's just on the writing side of things. We can still use it to help give us more concepts. We also have a tool called the Humanizer, which can take AI writing and strip out the most noticeable characteristics of that AI writing, so it's less easy to detect it algorithmically. But it's still problematic, because you're still not really getting original concepts. Even if you had a monkey on a typewriter, you'd get an original concept once in a while, but not always with AI. So you got to be a little careful in that regard. So anyway, that's the tech side of thing, like how we use it in writing. But then we have audio. And audio has been an amazing part of the AI evolution. 11 Labs is our absolute favorite audio provider for AI, and they've been upgrading their model constantly. So we have dozens, hundreds of voices to choose from. We can make AI models of our clients,
Mm.
them podcasting without ever actually being involved. And those things are very cool. It's still not 100%, but we're able to do videos with it, and we're able to do our own basic podcasts using that 11. So yeah, the AI audio has been really, really interesting. Now, AI video is an example of where we have more myths than reality, because a lot of clients think that the AI video tools are so cool. You could just roll up on them and be like, hey, here's my logo and here's my website. Now create for me, a video ad, a 30-second video ad. But the reality is, a lot of the good video generating tools are expensive. The subscriptions for them are very expensive. The videos that you can actually produce using the trials are very short in duration. So you might only be producing 4, 5, 6-second videos. And you really can't customize everything. Like, they have
Mm-hmm.
a few things they do well, but if you try to ask them to, give you a chimpanzee on a bicycle going around the globe, you're going to get what you're going to get. It's not always going to work out. So people have asked us several times to do AI videos, and it's like, you know what we probably should do is we can create an AI image, get kind of an infographic for your concept, then use the 11 labs to narrate the whole thing, and we'll create an AI video. But if I just go on VO, A, I'm going to have to pay VO a fortune because it's not cheap software. And then B, you're not necessarily going to get what you think you're going to get. It's getting there. And for the guys who have enterprise level accounts, they might be able to generate anything and everything. But for the end user, there's limitations. So.
Yeah, you bring up something that's, I think it hits home for a lot of our audience on this podcast are agency owners, and many of them, or I would say a majority of them, work with small business owners. Like, they're marketing to mid market America, and they're running into the same thing. The other half of this podcast audience are SEO leaders who are working for mid-sized brands, and they're running into the same thing. They're like, hey, we have a budget to spend on like exploration and experimentation and cool tools, but like, I don't want to spend $500 on credits for VO or something else. So that was a really cool and tactical way to use 11 labs and combine it with like a cool image generation, do a narration, put that in a video. How are you combining like visual assets with like SEO content and like putting those together, and like how is that helping rankings? How is that helping AI visibility on LLMs? Like what's the cohesive strategy between visual assets and language?
Yeah. Visual assets have been really strong in the AI algorithm. Of course, video is kind of a first priority content source now. Like in the past, it was kind of an accoutrement to your meat and potatoes on your website, but your video content can be a primary source for your SEO now. So definitely all the accompanying visuals and multimedia really help the content rank, and they really help the content get distribution on social. But they also send interesting accompanying signals. So you probably noticed, if you're on Google My Business, for instance, and let's take a query I do a lot. Let's say you take a Las Vegas personal injury lawyer, and then you start looking through the GMBs. It's going to show you the social posts from those different Google Maps listings. So the visual that you put into the social post affects the ranking of your GMB and your website, and the video that you post to YouTube can also affect it. We had an instance recently where we did a car accident video, link back to the car accident page within the description. Car accident page boosted up through the roof. Car accident video also did well, but there was nothing done directly to the page and no additional links built to it. It was just, an issue of the AI grabbed that piece of content, determined that it did well, and algorithmically kind of ran with it. So yeah, the visuals are very important. One thing I wish AI did better, I'll put this out there, would be infographics. We've tried to use AI for infographics quite a few times, and it can do it if you grab it by the nose and lead it exactly. If you say, okay, give me a pie chart, and this is going to be this stat, and this is going to be, and I want it, this wide, and then a little description, it'll kind of put it together. But if you just say, hey, summarize this blog and give me an infographic to go with it, it's going to give you nonsense. So, I wish that part was easier, but we're working with it. The AI generated images are another interesting aspect to it. AI generated images are often stamped with the generator that it was made. So it's not necessarily a credit free. It doesn't mean you can just put it on your blog and use it commercially. You're supposed to link back to the geo that created it for you. The AI generated images can be a accoutrement, but we don't usually like to use them as a primary image because it doesn't always count as a unique, and then you have to link back to the LLM that created it. But yeah, all those visual assets are getting better and better. And I would think that within the next 2 years, I should be able to tell AI, create me an infographic for this blog or create me a video for this blog. So, we're working with what we got and we're excited for what's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a cool story where, the car accident actually boosted the page, even though it was just a video with a link to it. I mean, with everything going on with LLMs, looking at context and brand mentions, like backlinking is still a big part of, from what we see at least, like a big part of SEO strategy. Like high quality backlinks is not just about the quantity anymore, but it's like actually, and not just like linking out, but also like, what's the citation flow? What's the trust flow? Yeah. What's the quality? I mean, how are you guys approaching backlinking today? Internal linking? Like, is there a different strategy now that LLMs are in the game, or is it kind of like the same, or like what's changed?
Yeah, no, I think companies like yours are probably one of the bigger winners of this type of thing because digital PR is more pertinent than it's ever been. Back in the day, so, full disclosure, in 2009, it was the glory days of this industry. You could take any client and just create them a maps listing. They get a few reviews, you do a few exact match pages, and you're in business. You're a wizard. But it is definitely way more complex. So we still have the local listings. The completeness of the local listings is important. And then creating the knowledge graph through the local listing is almost more important than the backlink that you're getting off of the local listing. So LinkedIn, which isn't a local listing, it's a social media, but let's take that as an example. LinkedIn is one of the main knowledge graph sites because the different people in your company can all connect to your company. You can list out your specialties, get recommendations on the specialties, ad infinitum. And when Google is trying to put together its knowledge graph, or any AI trying to put together a knowledge graph on an entity, it's going to look at a system like LinkedIn. And it's almost definitely looking at LinkedIn. It can look at Crunchbase, it can look at some of the other knowledge base aggregators, but none of them are as comprehensive. So the comprehensiveness that we fill out those profiles is almost more important than the backlink from the profile in the LLM days because they're trying to build that entity around your company. So that's one change with the link building. The next one might be the customs. It's the same thing. There's an unbelievable amount of custom links that are available to any industry now. Go back 10 years and maybe I'd have like 25. And now it's like I could just prospect for days. So I really have to pick my battles. Even the paid custom links, we have to put together spreadsheets of comparative opportunities to understand if we're getting our values on them. And then we have to fill them out within an inch of their lives. And the harder it is to list a custom, the more valuable for it is. So if you have to like call in and verify or take a picture of your ID, that's probably a custom link that we do want, even though it's a pain in the ass. So way more pain in the ass link building, way more time spent on individual experience for each of the links that you're building, way more opportunities. So you have to kind of pick your opportunities. And then some of the other links that are very interesting in the LLM world, as far as we can see so far, would be awards. So we all know that the LLMs seem to be taking the awards and placing emphasis on them. So for instance, I might have an award organization that perhaps is only a domain authority 25, and it's specific. Let's take personal injury lawyer again. So it's award specific to personal injury lawyer on a domain authority 25 backlink. And then I have a local listing over here, and maybe that's domain authority 82. And, I'll get a backlink off of it as well. And, I'll be able to put a description, and that's great. And which of those is probably better for me? It's probably the award now, because the award is going to influence the AI algorithm much stronger. And it's very specific to what I'm doing as opposed to a broad general directory. So, our perceptions of domain authority are also way different than they used to be. Yeah, awards are good. Chambers of commerce are also still excellent. Third-party independent rating organizations such as the Better Business Bureau, which gives you, whatever your rating is, incredibly important both to the Google algorithm and the AI algorithm. And the last thing would be press releases and distribution. So there's a lot of places, of course you got your guest blogs. Your guest blogs are excellent, excellent, excellent. But when you're doing a press release, the place that you get it placed is insanely important to it, and the verbiage that you're using in it and the multimedia that you can put into it. So, it's not just getting the backlink. Before we might have placed an article, 800 words, a single image, but now we want to do an embed. We want to do a citation. We want to do a video. If we can do a video, a multimedia, we need that backlink to actually get indexed. Google's a lot more picky about what it's actually indexing now. You've probably seen tons of people reporting crawled, not indexed, and that happens to your backlinks too. So I can build 1,000 backlinks, but if Google's only going to index 20 of them, then I need a different strategy. So, that is a lot of answer, but, it is really changed.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. That's for dang sure. But it all leads to, like, when you're talking with the client as an agency, you can have an in-depth, like very experienced, decade plus answer like this. And they might come back to you and say like, is that going to get me more sales? Like, is that going to make me more money? Right? How do you have these conversations with clients where there's a lot of information on the marketing side, but in the end, they just want to know one thing, or two things. Is it going to make me money, or is this going to be cheaper for me on my expenses? Like, what do those conversations sound like?
That's an interesting one. Yeah, that really has changed as well. Like going back 10 years, we loved smaller clients. Like if you're a brand new contractor or something like that, sign up with us. We'll get you your Google Maps, you get a few reviews, you'll get some business. But it's a more challenging landscape now. So if you have too low a budget, you're probably not going to be the ideal client for us. And it's not because we have, big eyes and greedy pockets. It's because the amount of work that's required to make a dent in the search landscape today is different than the amount of work that was required 10 years ago. And now I have to optimize for, 5 different LLM engines, Bing, Google. I'm pretty sure Apple's about to drop on us. So you're optimizing for, back in the day, I was optimizing for Google
Yeah.
desktop, done. Now it's like desktop, mobile, tablet, free, mind blowing. So way different. But anyway,
Yeah.
so in the discussion, basically, I have an educated client, that's going to be my ideal client. Before, I might have been much easier to work with Joe Blow contractor. Now, when I'm talking to Joe Blow contractor, I'm just like, okay, there's a limit to what we're going to be able to achieve on your budget. And I'm not telling you to spend $10,000 a month on your roofing company that you just started, because even with that, this is
Yeah.
organic. You can't take a seed, put it in the ground, dump 10 gallons of water on it and think you're going to have a tree next time. You got to grow it over time. So if you're a contractor and you want to roll with us, just understand it's not going to be quick, but you'll be able to see what we do every month. You'll get our billing timesheet that has the hours that we spent, what we spent it on. If we did a blog, you'll be able to go see the blog. You'll be able to see the rankings on the blog. Video, same thing. You go see the video, see the backlinks, the number of views on the video and so forth. So, it's tangible deliverables, but you're not going to rank right away. We're just setting you up with a really good basic for your web presence. And if we work on it hard over time, maybe next year it's doing something. You say, Josh, I want to invest more. And maybe in a couple years, we'll be at a place where we could put 10,000 a month into it. But right now, let's get you off to a good structure and start accumulating those reviews, building your rewards and so forth. And maybe over time we'll get to there. But then you have your more educated client. So an existing business, and this is been one of the shifts. So now we want to work with these more educated clients more than ever. Before, we actually kind of liked the not so educated clients because they would just kind of hand it off to us and then we could have our own decision making. But now if I don't have an educated client, exactly, they're going to be like, you want me to spend $1,000 for a press release, or I need to put $1,500 into this guest blog, and they don't understand it. So there's different ways of talking to these guys for sure. But our biggest clients, our best clients, are just incredibly bullish with that stuff, and we can explain it to them in incredibly technical terms. And maybe they read it, maybe they don't, but they understand that the investment's required.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said that like your best clients are the most educated ones these days. A lot of agency owners are in this experience where their clients are coming to them because they've been burned from a previous agency. It may not be the case all the time. It may just be that the prospect is impatient, or they didn't understand, or they're uneducated. So when that happens, I guess I'm just like, maybe I'm not even asking a question of just pointing it out that like there are some people who are they're just impatient. The question I do want to ask is for you guys at the agency now, what's your primary like deal source? Like how are you prospecting? Like where are the deals coming from? Referrals, are you running ads? What's it look
Yeah,
like?
good question. We've never run Google ads. I think we did for a week once, but we just tend to get so busy. It's like impossible. Our own
Yeah.
search engine optimization is pretty good. So we still get quite a few clients. Yeah. And then we have people find us because I'm working on their competitor and they say, oh, I just saw that you're working for XYZ personal injury lawyer and I like what he's doing. So come with us. And that's kind of our best one. We love it when they come to us that way. So yeah, on average, I'd say in a given month, we sign 3 or 4 clients and lose 1 or 2. So we're still growing, but it's been interesting how things are transitioning. It's a much more complex discussion with the business owner when we're going to sell it. And with our existing clients, been with us a long time, the conversations over rankings are also way more complex. It's like, well, you are still ranking good on Google Maps. We haven't dropped in ranking. But now you have competitors with way more review counts. You don't have the reviews. You have generative optimization. People are going on Bing and Apple Maps. It's a diverse ecosystem. Anyway.
Yeah. It's a lot deeper of a conversation. It's not so black and white. Yeah, is what it sounds like.
Before it really was kind of like how you said it before. It was kind of like how do you talk to a small business owner about delivering SEO services? And before it was a lot more like, oh, I'm going to build you these links and you're going to get some rankings and we'll get some clients. And now it's like, this is going to get complicated. Let me get a whiteboard out and just take a deep breath. We get through it.
So the business is my favorite web designs .com. What percentage of your business comes from design, like web design versus SEO versus paid ads? Like what's it made up of?
I'd say 10 to 15% of our yearly revenue comes from new website design, and the other roughly 90% is monthly marketing clients. I'll put out there too that we are no commitment. We're a month-to-month company. So when we talk about our monthlies making up 90% of the revenue, we're very proud of that because we wouldn't have that if we weren't delivering the product each and every month. But website design is kind of our loss leader in some ways. Guys in the industry sometimes hate website design and they handle it a couple of different ways. Sometimes they jack the price up. So you're paying like $6,000 on a small business website. We don't do that. You're probably going to get your small business website under $2,000 with us, which is, fair pricing. But a lot of our marketing clients come from our website design projects. In the past, it was much easier to do like a small business website design, start them on a small marketing program, have them grow up into a big company. That's gotten harder. So our favorite projects right now are remodels on existing companies where perhaps the previous marketing company was kind of underutilizing some tools or maybe not being ambitious enough. And then if we can come in and do a few things right where they were being done wrong before, we can find success within a few months. And then, that's the magic formula there. Yeah.
That's cool. And it goes hand in hand, right? If they have I've even heard for some agencies that do a great job with web design, they will take a new client that they're remodeling their website and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to redo this whole website because like the schema is all jacked up. I can't get to the WordPress plugin, like whoever the webmaster was like locked everything and I can't find the passcode. So is that something that you guys do, or like do you work with like actually like remodeling a house, or is it like new construction for every client, knowing that you're going to be running SEO to it and optimizing that? What's that like?
Good targeted technical question. Yeah. So whenever we're building a new website, we do try to build, especially if it's an existing successful organization in any way, we're trying to build that new website off a clone of the previous website. Doing it off the clone, of course, then you don't have image resources going missing, and you can redirect all your image resources and so forth. But your 301s, in my personal opinion, are not passing 100% of the juice along. So by redirecting all your old URLs, you're just putting yourself in a completely different position. When we do a remodel, we want to control those variables. So we build it on a clone. Our ideal remodel would be acquiring a client, keeping the existing website, starting the marketing program, and then fixing things one by one so that we're not doing a full remodel at any one point, but we're doing iteration each and every month. So if you were to look at the website over a 2-year period, you'd be like, you know what? Over 2 years, almost every line of code changed, every graphic changed, but you didn't do it all at once because, you understand that by doing it all at once, you are now going to get completely reevaluated by Google Ads, Google Analytics, Google AdWords, the SEO algorithm. So we don't love completely redoing. Sometimes you have to because it's what the client wants and they're not necessarily on a marketing program. And in the case that we have to do a remodel like that, we try to build it on the clone of the existing site and retain the elements that were successful for the business owners. So sometimes, you'll come in, take the case of a personal injury lawyer. And this actually happened recently. So the personal injury lawyer said, you know what? I want my slogan. I want at the top of the website, and I'm going to use a different slogan. He said, I want it to be like the best of the best, let's just say. And I was like, well, you should probably put personal injury lawyer somewhere at the top of your site. You can't just have the best of the best. And he's like, no, I want the best of the best. And it's a hard conversation. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that is fascinating stuff. There's the adage of like the rebuilding of this wooden ship where you have each piece of the ship carried as cargo onto the ship, and as it travels across the water, you replace board by board. At what point does it become a new ship as opposed to an old ship? And it sounds like that's kind of what you're doing with the website, is you're replacing it board by board so that it never becomes a new website, but it's never still the old website at the same time.
That's our favorite situation, but we can only do that when we have a lot of trust and we're doing it over a long period of time with a marketing client.
Sure.
So in a case where we are doing a remodel and we have 6 to 8 weeks to get the entire remodel done, that's when we're looking out for the suggestions that might deep six the person. Because, it doesn't matter how it goes down. If I do a remodel and then your rankings drop, that's on me. There's no
Yeah.
other. I mean, I understand the owner told you to put, we're the best at the top, and maybe he told you some other crazy stuff, but it's still your fault. And if it gets bad enough, you just have to walk away. There's no scenario where you should launch a website knowing that it's going to sink someone's rankings. That's criminally liable. Don't do it. So anyway.
Yeah, yeah. You always have to have the best intention, which, I mean, it sounds like when you're doing such a good job for a competitor and, that competitor reaches out to you, I mean, as much as the first business owner might want you to change a bunch of stuff, if you use your best judgment and don't do that because of your history and your experience, like, I think that sings praises for you, and, yeah, it can get you a lot more referrals and all kinds of stuff.
Agreed.
With everything, with everything changing, as far as like what I'm really going to try and ask is like, how do you optimize the website for conversions, for outreach? Like, it depends on the industry. Obviously, a vein clinic might respond better to call now as opposed to like, fill out this form for like a SaaS product or something.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, do you have any like basic principles, or what are you seeing these days?
Yeah. So definitely you need a text message availability. That's one thing I see a lot of
Mm,
websites still doing wrong, is they're not making it obvious that clients can text message with them as a conversion action, as a call to action. And that is the way that most of your clients do want to interact with you. They would love to text message. So trying to
mm,
push the text messages. And then even on your contact forms, we like to use what's the best way to reply: phone, email, or text message, because everyone's using a different medium. We probably should use WhatsApp more. We don't. That's, more of an international, but it's creeping in the US, and I'd be interested to see that come along as a CTA. I agree. If it's B2B, book your consultation and fill out this detailed white paper form type thing is always going to be your better call to action. Like, just a name, email, phone is not the best for the B2B. But yeah, exactly. For the service industry guys, for the guys just serving B2C, it's still a lot of the same conversion actions work. Schedule now on a form, call or text on a phone number, place them throughout the site. You're still doing enlightenment with whatever your web materials are, and then the enlightenment leads to the CTA. I think supporting signals are also really interesting. So people, the way they're researching. So let's say you selected My Favorite Web Designs and you were like, oh, I saw you have like 120 Google reviews and you seem like a solid company, but just to be sure, what am I going to do? How am I going to research you? You're probably going to ask AI. And even if you don't, you might just ask Google and you might say, is My Favorite Web Designs reputable? Anything negative on My Favorite Web Designs, whatever it's going to be. So the other referral sources lead to the conversion. So do you have some comments on Reddit which are favorable to you? Do you have a good experience on your Facebook? When AI generates its summary of your company, is that going to support the facts that are going to lead to the conversion? So you have your CTAs on your website, but then you also have your supporting social proofs and comments around the internet that work with your CTA, and you can be more confident that people are using those accompanying sources now than they were 5 years ago. And that is because of AI, because people didn't want to click through to the links. But if AI can give it to them in a single paragraph, they'll take it.
I love that. It's not quite like long tail research, but what did you call it? Like supporting or supplemental content or something like
Exactly.
that?
The supporting conversion signals from third-party references.
Yeah.
So whether you're checking them on a forum or whether you're asking the AI for that concise recap, are there other things besides just your Google reviews and your own website that are supporting your assumption that you're the best business for the service?
So cool. And I see like actual, Google ads where I'm typing for a specific software. They'll be like, better SaaS alternative. And, it'll like be right there at the top. And I'm like, huh.
We
So it's kind
haven't
of like
done a
doing
lot
that,
of
but
that type of
organic.
because it feels like it's going to get into like a death match, but I love it when I see it. Like when I shop
Yeah,
mattresses and they're all like
I
preying on
know.
each other, it's like, wow, that is some competitive, no holds bar, lead
Oh,
pipe mark.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Like best Casper mattress competitor, like even better.
Dude, like if the
Ridiculous.
roofers in
Ridiculous.
Arizona started doing it with
As we
each other.
wrap up,
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
bro, yes. I mean, I moved to Arizona to sell solar door to door. And like in the case of solar, like it's a good deal, assuming that the tax credits are still there. But it's so hard to sell solar or roofing because of how many competitors there are and how much information there is that, skews the mind of the customer. They just don't know where to go, you know? And so
Can
that's
you
kind of what
imagine
we
if
were
the roofing
doing.
companies started targeting each other by name and landing pages like that? There would be bloody fights in the street. Like, it's a to
Yeah.
do
Oh, yeah.
anyway.
And I would assume that like the founders of roofing contracting companies are maybe different types of people than mattress people. Might
Yeah,
literally be blood in the streets.
Yes, but yeah, no, it's been an interesting ride for sure to see how that's evolved.
Yeah. Josh, as we wrap up here, where can we find more about you and myfavoritewebdesigns.com? Like where's the best place to reach out to you if we want to learn more?
Yeah, myfavoritewebdesigns.com is our website. That is the best place to come see what we're doing and interact with us. Email is the most reliable way to reach out to me or anyone at my company if you want to talk to us more. We have, blogs and videos and so forth, but most of it's aggregated on the website. I am kind of the cobbler with the bad shoes. I don't spend enough time on my own digital presence because we just tend to be loaded up. But the website's a reasonable resource.
Yeah. Man, you are not alone in that. You are not alone in that. I hear that all the time from agency owners.
It's like every year, it's like, man, I could spend like 100 hours and make this website so boss, but then it's like, well, what's going to happen? I'm going to get twice as many phone calls, and then I'm going to lie down on the floor crying because I can barely keep what I got now. So it's just decisions. Anyway, I don't know.
That's hilarious. Well, thanks for coming on to Eat Coffee with Experts, man. We'll have to meet up when I'm back in Arizona.
Yeah, real nice talking to you, Austin. Thanks for having me on.